Time to eat some red beans and rice. Let's try this. Now that it's got that flavor, man. Got that New Orleans flavor. Which is why we put Slap Your Mama seasoning, Tony Chachere's, never obey. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Feast with Pete. Today we are doing red beans and rice. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Feast with Pete, and today we are doing red beans and rice. Of course, you need some red kidney beans for that. I use the Camellia brand. This is the 1 pound Camellia brand. You can get this online. You want to soak this overnight, or at least for 4 hours. Okay, those are the red kidney beans. You want to soak it for at least 4 hours. You can get away with the 4 hours. You just got to boil it a little longer, but if not, overnight is best. And any type of smoked sausage, I'm using andouille here. I'm also using some smoked turkey. Of course, the usual suspects. You know, you got the bell peppers, the celery, the onion, and of course, a little bit of garlic, right? And I'm using some Poultry magic here, and some Slap Your Mama seasoning or Tony Chachere's would work, not Old Bay, okay? Once after that's soaked, you're gonna add some of those beans, and you're gonna add about 8 to 10 cups of water. So that's 8 to 10 cups of water for 1 pound of beans, and add that smoked turkey. Usually they use pickled meat, pickled pork, or they use ham hocks. But I like doing it with the turkey. You know, it gives you a little bit more meat for your red beans and rice. So you want to cut all your vegetables, your seasonings, if you will, you know, the Holy Trinity, right? The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And if you got the Pope as the garlic on here, oh, can go with the pastor too. Of course, in the congregation, you got to have the choir, which is the parsley on this recipe. So we're going to fine chop that parsley and have it aside. And then you want to cut your smoked sausage or andouille sausage, right? And all we're gonna do, just gonna get some color on the sausage, and then we're gonna get some of those andouille grease, and then we're gonna actually cook our vegetables in it. So, but first, you wanna get some color on your andouille sausage, your smoked sausage. You can definitely use kielbasa. You can use any type of smoked sausage that you can find, especially if you're not in the New Orleans area. You know, get a smoked sausage, it's still gonna taste good. You know, it might not be all the way authentic, but you kind of want to get that color right there. What I'm doing, just flipping it after a couple minutes. Of course, you can add a little bit of oil to that, and you know, you're getting that color, you're getting that grease from that sausage. And you can also add andouille chicken sausage. Now, if you are not about that swine life, you can add a little bit of that chicken sausage or turkey sausage, if you will. And then now, to that grease, we're gonna add some of that celery. You wanna cook that celery for a couple of minutes, you know, before you add your bell pepper. Then you wanna cook your bell pepper for another couple of minutes before you add your onions, because onions cook a lot faster than those vegetables. So you wanna cook those first. At this point, we're not adding any salt, any type of seasoning yet, because we wanna make sure we wanna cook this. And while that's doing that, you wanna also skim off any type of foam that's been, you know, gathered by your beans, right? Because we're boiling beans, so it's gonna get some foam on there. You wanna kind of boil it for like medium open flame, right? And then we're gonna add the Pope to the party, right? We're gonna add the garlic to the party, and the garlic, you know, probably goes in after about 8 minutes. Then we're gonna add the choir there. Choir in this recipe being parsley, right? You want to add the parsley. This is already about cooked for like 10 minutes so far, and now it's the time to add your seasoning salts. So I'm adding Slap Your Mama hot blend. You can add the regular version as well, and you can add, of course, Tony Chachere's or any type of Cajun seasoning you got. I'm also adding some Poultry magic, so it's gonna have that distinct New Orleanian flavor. And just saute this for like, you know, less than a minute, and now add a little bit of black pepper. Now, if you don't like it as much with the black pepper, you can omit this. You don't have to add this, but I like to add the black pepper. And of course, if you like to add a little bit more cayenne, you can add cayenne as well. It really depends on how spicy or less spicy you like it. So really up to you. You can adjust it the way you want, right? Now, we've been boiling this beans for about 30 minutes. And you want to, of course, put a lid on it. And you want to check on the beans, and you want to make sure it's not sticking to the bottom, which is why I'm doing that. Making sure the beans are not sticking to the bottom and the smoked turkey is going. And now's the time you want to add your seasonings, right? Seasoning being the seasoned vegetables that's already added the seasoning sauce. Now you can stop here and not add this, but I'm a crazy person, so I'm gonna add a little bit more slaps. I'm gonna add a little bit more poultry magic. It's just the flavor is gonna be that much more pronounced, and after this you don't really have to season it. Of course, you can add a little bit of ground thyme. If you have some fresh thyme, you can add that in there as well. And this is basically your seasoning. As far as seasoning, salts and everything else is done. You want to close this. You want to boil this for about an hour. Basically, you want to put this on simmer for about an hour, put it on low, and cook that for an hour. And then all of these flavors will be nicely introduced into the beans. Now, because we soaked these beans for only 4 hours, we might have to cook it for a little longer, right? If you soaked it overnight, it'll cook faster, but if not, you might have to cook it for a little longer. Always check on the beans and make sure they're not sticking to the bottom of the pan. So while your beans are cooking, it's time to make some rice. Of course, you can boil the rice or you can make it in the rice cooker. Now, if you don't have a rice cooker, this is a good trick, right? You just want to boil your water and then add the rice, right? And it's gonna boil for like, I don't know, 6-7 minutes or so. It's like this is about a cup of rice. You want to check for the doneness, right? You don't want it too mushy, but also you don't want it with a bite. This is not al dente, this is rice. So you gotta cook it just right, strain it, and then it's basically done, right? Now we're checking on our red beans and seeing how it is. And you might wanna like take a bean or two and then try it and see if it's kind of hard, just boil it for a little longer. And then once it gets a little softer, that's the time you wanna add your sausage, right? And now you wanna cook this for about another hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour or so, because it's gonna add more flavor, right? Of course, you can add all of this and cook for about 2 hours or 3 hours, however long you want on low. But I like cooking it this way, so this is my preferred method. So about another hour later, the meat fell apart, right? This is smoked turkey. If you're using ham hocks, you know, the meat's gonna fall apart. You wanna take that bone out and you wanna take that skin out, because we don't want the skin of the smoked meat, right? And if it's any meat or anything left in there, you know, take that meat out and you can add it back to the red beans stew right now, right? And basically this is the time you want to kind of start smashing some of the beans and let it keep cooking, right? And now we're not gonna put a lid back on again. We're just gonna keep cooking this for another 30 minutes or so, and so the water level will drop and we will be going from soup level to a lot more red beans and rice level. And that's what we want. We wanted to get it to that thicker consistency, and you want to smash some of those beans. You don't want to smash all of those beans. You know, you don't want to put a blender and smash it, because it's not a soup. You know, this is red beans and rice. You gotta have a little bit of that red beans left. So it really depends on your preference of how thick or thin you like it, but keep cooking this till you get it to that consistency that you love, right? And you know it's gonna taste good because it's got all that New Orleanian flavors, and it's been cooking for 2 or 3 hours, and you're probably hungry and you can't wait to dig into it. But you know, cook it till you get to that consistency. I promise you, it's worth it. And of course, I was making this a couple of days before Mardi Gras, and you know, I gotta make my red beans and rice, man. And I haven't made one in my channel, so I hope y'all like this one. That's basically the consistency I got it to. And you want to serve this with some rice. So we're serving this with some of that boiled rice. You can add some scallions to it. And my fiance, who's a New Orleans native, she's gonna let you know how she likes it. How do you like this compared to red beans and rice back home?
It's hella good. Wow, it makes me feel like home. Ooh, it has that little kick to it too.
And this tastes much better the next day or a couple of days later too. So, you know, y'all can make a big batch and keep it and keep eating.
If y'all like that video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to feast with Pete.